Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Let's get started. And our first one comes from No Note 3098. Am I the beehole for giving my sister-in-law 3 days notice that I would no longer make a cake for her daughter's third birthday after finding out she and her parents told others my history? I, a 28-year-old female, love to bake, and I will often make cakes and stuff for friends, and since I met my in-laws in 2018, for them as well. My sister-in-law asked me to bake her daughter's a birthday cake for her birthday this weekend. This was back in October, and we discussed what she wanted in detail. It's not my first time making her cakes, but it's my first time as her sister-in-law, officially, and where I felt like I was truly a part of the family. 3 days ago, I was out grocery shopping, and ran into a family friend of my in-laws. This person is not someone I like very much. She's a bad gossip, and seems to have some malice in her while sharing gossip about others. I tried to be polite to everyone, and I don't talk to her, but she stopped me and went out of her way to ask me when my husband and I are having kids. Then she mentioned me being a foster kid and an affair baby, and she did it in a way that was meant to come across actual concern but was really being intrusive and cruel. She mentioned that my in-laws and sister-in-laws were concerned about our kids not having anyone. I told my husband when he got home from work, and I was a mess. It might seem dumb, but I feel like his family betrayed the trust I put in them, and they did the one thing they were asked not to do, which was tell people about my history. It's not something I want to broadcast to everyone who knows me. My husband confronted his parents and sister, and they said they only mentioned it to a few close people in the circle, and they defended it when my husband said it wasn't okay. Sister-in-law said it's not like people wouldn't find out eventually, and he asked her how they would find out if we never told them. My history is that both my parents were married to others and had children with their spouses when they had an affair. I was the result. Both sets of first children were technically adults, or close to it when I was born. The day before my 5th birthday, we were in the car together and it crashed. My parents died, and so did the people in the other car. I was the only survivor, and I was in the hospital for a few weeks after. Nobody in either of my parents' family wanted me, and I was brought up into foster care for the rest of my life. I never found a family. After hearing sister-in-law say what she did and realize how unapologetic they were, and hearing how little they cared about what they did to me, I asked if I could speak to sister-in-law for a sec and told her not to expect a cake from me. After going against what I wanted and having such little care for the harm it caused, she went crazy and said it was only 3 days until the birthday party, and my husband backed me up and said, so what? She and their parents are blowing up his phone so bad he had to block them, and I worry I'm being a bit of a beehole, saying no with such short notice. Am I the beehole? First of all, OP, you are not the beehole. It's insane that you think you would even be the beehole in this situation. They're over here divulging your secrets to people, and come on, they have to know that woman is a gossip. It's not hard to tell when someone's a gossip. And they expect a favor from you when they crossed boundaries and disrespected you and did the ultimate disrespect and told, people your background. That's not their story to tell. That's your story to tell, and you trusted them enough to tell them that story. And that is a crazy story. I'm so glad you were able to make it to adulthood after all of that. You never deserved any of that. Also, it sounds like you got a great husband who's backing you up, which is, oh, it's nice to have someone, to lift you up when you're feeling terrible. And yeah, not the beehole. That's not how it works. You don't get to, like I said, you don't get to backstab someone and then get a favor from them. And 3 days for the birthday party, so what? Go to Costco and buy a Costco cake. I'm sure they can knock something out in 3 days. And also, shame on your husband and his sister's parents over there backing them up after she did something wrong like that. That's not good parenting. I wonder if your husband came out raised well despite the parents, because they should know this. They should know better. They're adults. They should know what their daughter did was wrong, and they should have disciplined her. I know she's grown, but I don't know. Talk to her, something like that. Not you. Don't talk to her. That's done. If I were you, I'd be done with her. I'd go no contact. She's already shows that she doesn't care about you when she's over here divulging deep dark secrets of yours to random gossips. So no, OP, you are not the beehole. Screw that lady. And hey, baking's pretty cool. And our next one comes from Top Beautiful 4843. Am I the beehole for telling my sister she'll have to care for her mother alone? I'm a 16-year-old male, and my sister is a 15-year-old female. Our dad was married to my mom, and he cheated on her while she was pregnant with me, and a few weeks after I was born, knocked up his now wife with my sister. My mom kicked him to the curb, and I lived with her mostly, and saw my dad every other weekend until I was 6. Then my mom died from complications from her asthma, and I had to live with my dad. The reason I said dad is because he was never really one. Like, yeah, we lived with him a few years, but he's never been active in mine or my sister's life. Never showed up to anything or spent time with us. His wife was the one, and I hated her. After my mom died, she tried to call herself my mom, tried to insert herself in my mom's funeral planning, and insisted on me not being named as her son in the obituary or anything. Wow, what an evil woman. She and my grandparents and my aunts/uncles fought until they kicked her out. She tried to get dad to back her up and say she had the authority over me, but he did nothing. So I was with my grandparents for a few days, and by the time I returned, she told me she was my mom now, and I should have respected her more. I was very disrespectful to her for years. I know I was, and I don't even feel bad about it. I made her life hell, and dad was never around to do anything. She always made things worse too by insisting she was my mom. My sister hated me for treating her mom. That would be because she doesn't remember my mom, or remember the times when I wasn't there. She always refused to believe that I do, and she tells me her mom is my mom, and in the ways that matter. She told me it was crazy, how I made it seem like my mom did more than hers, or that I'm closer to my mom, who died before I could even remember her, when her mom was always there. She told me I should be glad I got to have a bigger family when my mom died, so my sister and I aren't close either. Oh my god, she raised another demon. My sister's mom was diagnosed with a neurological disease in June. She's already struggling with some other stuff and has regular medical appointments. Dad is basically gone all the time now. He has not helped his wife at all and isn't around for us, which isn't new. But he's also bringing in less money to the home. My sister is upset about her mom and has taken her anger out towards me. She is also so disrespectful about my mom and has even wished she could do stuff to her grave when she's really trying to piss me off. But the other day, she told me my mom was disgusting and ugly, that she had been a bad wife and mom, and that was why dad chose her mom. She told me her mom was so much better, and I should be grateful for her and doing everything I can. She told me we had to take care of her now. I looked her in the eye, and I told her she was all alone in taking care of her mom because I hate her mom and would never help her. She got really upset and broke down crying and ran off to her room. Yesterday she told me I was such a prick and I meant to be her brother and I should love her enough to be a better and support her. Am I the beehole? Oh, OP, you are not the beehole. I don't know how you restrained yourself from not knocking the teeth out of that little bee. Holy hell, she's over here talking about how she wants to desecrate your mother's grave and how your mother was, talking crap about your mother. And then she expects you to help her take care of that terrible, ghoulish, cretinous creature that's a bloody skinwalker basically trying to say she's your mom. I was about to say, I don't know how your sister thought that would go, but that's stupid of me. Look at the creature that raised her. Of course she's gonna come out, as basically heaping pile of garbage like her mother. OP, keep doing what you're doing. If I were you, I wouldn't help any of those terrible people. If I were you, what are you, 16 in the story, I think? I hope you're putting money away and saving, because if she doesn't make it, what happens, right? I guess you go to live with a relative, I guess. But if she recovers, you're going to need to get ready to eject at 18, because it sounds like that's what you're going to need to do to just get away from these two idiots. And your father, I don't know what's up with him. I guess he just doesn't exist anymore, right? But OP, you are not the beehole. And I'm amazed you're able to restrain yourself from laying her out. OP, again, not the beehole. 1000% not the beehole. And our final one comes from Snowy Crocodile. Am I the beehole for not giving a cupcake to a child who is not originally on the guest list. Oh, another cake story. I, a 24-year-old female, recently returned to my hometown after being away for college and work. My grandma often hosts potluck parties where her 3 kids and their families can hang out. I'm a pretty good baker, and the couple of times I brought baked goods over, I got lots of compliments, especially from the kids. For the potluck we had last week, I had promised to make a cupcake for each and every kid. 8 kids, all under 9. The adults would get a 2-pound cake to be shared. I elaborately decorated the cupcakes and made sure I made enough. I don't have the energy to make extras. On the day of the party, one of my cousins brought her boyfriend and his kids, Gina, a 7-year-old female, over unannounced. Gina saw the cupcakes each kid got and wanted one, too. So my cousin brought her to me to ask for a cupcake. I apologized and told him that all the cupcakes were spoken for, and that she was welcome to have a slice of the 2-pound cake, as it was the same flavor. Gina said she wanted the pretty cupcake. My cousin then said I should just give her one, because she's sure the last one of the kids would not show up. Again, I refused, saying that I promised all the kids a cupcake, and would feel awful if anyone had to miss out on the promised cupcake. My cousin then walked away with Gina. She was right though, as one of our cousins, a girl, Amy, age 8 female, was sick and couldn't come. However, her dad and her older brother did, and the brother asked if he could take the cupcake back home to Amy, and I said yes. My cousin and Gina were in the kitchen, and when I brought the cupcake inside to pack it up for Amy, when they saw me packing up the cake, they asked about it, and I said it was for Amy, who was sick. Pictures from the party were recently posted. Many parents posted pictures of their kids with my cupcake. My cousin sent me a message telling me that Gina was really upset that Amy, who wasn't even at the party, got a cupcake, while she didn't. She said I was a beehole for hurting a little girl's feelings. I think I did the right thing, giving the cupcake to Amy, as I did promise her one. Still, Gina was right there at the party. Am I the beehole? Okay, you're not the beehole. The boyfriend is the beehole, because you weren't expecting that kid to come. No one told you. You made enough for everybody, and that cupcake was assigned to Amy. So, no, you were not the beehole. I'm glad Amy was able to get it. That must have been awesome, feeling sick, and then you get a sweet cupcake, to eat and get a little bit of happiness while you're recovering. And it's not even Gina's fault. Like I said, it's her father's. They put you in that predicament. Again, it's not your fault. You were not the beehole. You did the right thing. That cupcake was made for someone in mind, and you're supposed to, you get it to them. And, yeah, terrible parents for that girl, too. Like you said, there's a 2-pound cake. Just get her a big slice of cake. It's the same flavor. That's what I told her. It's like, hey, that's the cake. You got to eat it. Well, you didn't got to eat it, but you know what I mean. It's the same flavor. You're not really missing out on anything. I get it. She's a kid and she sees the shiny cupcakes and she wants the shiny. And you know what? That sucks that she's upset. But again, they're the ones who brought the kid unannounced to the party without telling anyone anything. And they expect you to miraculously pull one out of nowhere. No, OP, you're not the beehole. You did the right thing in getting that cupcake to its proper, owner? I guess owner? Yeah. Again, OP, not the beehole. Here we go in the comments. Practical 88 sums it up perfectly. And your cousin's boyfriend and your cousin are the beeholes here, for not preemptively explaining to the kid the situation and helping her to understand. This is the parent's job, teaching your kid how to behave and how to be a good guest. They instead made you feel like the beehole for going to lots of effort to keep your promises. That is a parenting problem, not a you problem. Definitely not the beehole. Thank you so much for staying with me to the end of this video. Can you please do what I said in the beginning and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Velvet out.